All these little plants are showing up nicely. Some of these are in our yard. See, like this land is wet land. See the tiny pink flowers? I can ever get that in focus. Zoomed or what? So many species of tiny plants with tiny flowers. Dinner flowers. A small amount of flow going on. I really prefer it not to get really such heavy rain that it comes over off the Aspen Ridge property. It's all cleared and topsoil removed, and the mud on top it causes a lot more algae growth and such. We never had that before. Goats trying to find ways he could reach through the fence to eat, because he's eating so much of the grain inside. He wants the lush stuff. I understand that, Opie, but we'd like you to finish off what's in there. That would be nice. Nice light rain now, but it can pick up any time. Not far away from us, Oklahoma and south here coming. It's okay. We always want our prairie to be wet. You don't like the red dirt being wet and overflowing into the river, however. Dead wood. Limb that's been broken down for more than a year. Still gets use. Maybe even increasing use by woodpeckers. Squirrels run on its natural bridge from ground to tree trunk up high. Cats probably have used it, although I haven't actually caught one on it. In case the dog comes out in a hurry and finds a cat. The cat has to appreciate something like this. But nothing makes more use of a down piece of dead wood. Broken off long ago. We trimmed the small limbs off and left the large part there. Look what's happening. Might not use it lying down on the ground, but tilt it up still. That's an important item to a woodpecker. Right here on the periphery of the worldview, Wetland Prairie. Lawrence coming back from that direction. It's Saturday afternoon, 24th, I believe, February 2007. It rained this morning, sunshine a little bit this afternoon, and the heaviest wind of the day is now here. And it's almost 6 p.m. A lot darker than it's been at 6 p.m. the last few nights. And part of the reason right now is dust blowing in the air. And they're coming all the way from Oklahoma. We've got enough places in northwest Arkansas where dirt's uncovered, topsoil's missing, vegetation's missing. We know where it is to have a source of dust nearby. This is very likely a dust storm from Oklahoma. More rain, thunderstorms are predicted, and much colder temperatures. It's in the 50s right now. But sure the microphone's picking up some of the power of this wind and the sounds through the trees. Goat named Opie is busy eating honeysuckle vines. At least he's eating the leaves and ripping up the vines a little bit. Got his nose out through the back of the wire, eating away, doing his job. That's why he's visiting us. World Peace Wetland Prairie has been since Saturday a week ago today. And he and his fellow goats, 4 total goats, worked hard on this pen full of honeysuckle last Saturday, and now he's doing it alone. And they left a lot for him, and he's cleaned up most of that, so there are very few green leaves in there, and now he's his nose outside. Lauren Hawkins is busy moving honeysuckle her own way. She's got her wagon loaded up with it, looks like, here. She's removed this afternoon. Probably made several wagon loads, and she just made one while ago and reloaded again. So she's working pretty hard on this project. Opie the goat has noticed us here. She's come over for a little attention. Here's the Razorback baseball game maybe going on right now over there still. But can't separate the sound of the baseball crowd from the wind right now. Can't even hear Opie very well. He likes petting. His owner raised him as a pet. He's a good boy. Fine looking goat. He's a wether, not a bellwether. You might take that role if given the herd to take care of, to lead. Emptied your water bucket. I left it over by the fence full of water. And you did it again. Well, you've done a great job, Opie. Great job. He's cutting honeysuckle. Works on the tops, gets it out, hauls it out front, leaves a lot of piles around, can't get them all. But then she works on the roots. She's trying to raise some young trees that may have value for bird nesting or producing fruit of some kind. These trees we couldn't identify when they covered with honeysuckle. They're just about killed in some cases and broken down. So we're trying to clear them off, see what they are. Obviously, they're trees that will grow in a wetland there because it's very wet. No, it might not be a good time to stand under this big willow tree. All that blowing. We're very likely going to lose some limbs this evening. See the motion in all the trees around here. Pretty strong wind. We get that pretty often, but this is combined with the dust. Seems a little more dramatic than usual. Here's some limbs crackling. I think we will lose some. Special interest, of course, is the big tree up there. It's been dying since they started surveying and putting in silt fence for the Aspen Ridge development just to the north of there. They cut through that tree's roots just a few yards out to the east, to our right of that. And since then, others in that area are at high risk. I'm afraid it's finished. It's just there for the woodpeckers and other wildlife. A lot of birds like to sit up high and watch their area. Of course, hawks use all these trees that are tall around here. Warren keeps working, even though it's now 6:05 p.m. and a winter night. Not getting any warmer or more pleasant out here. Yeah, there's some of her stuff from the other day up there. Crushes it down, trying to load it on in and pile it over. Now, the one you're unwrapping, the little tree you're unwrapping, appears to be one that you had cut the honeysuckle down at the roots earlier and left it, didn't you? So it would kind of dry out.
Helping me untwine it a little bit.
I bet it is. If it weren't wrapped so tight, it would blow it right off of those trees.
It out, actually.
Yeah. Well, I can tell.
Can't imagine having more than there is
It'd be nice to see this bud out, to see exactly what this tree is. It's grown up here with honeysuckle all over it. See, it's going to show damage forever, I guess. But if it survives and goes, maybe its bark will, adult bark will take care of the problem. We hope. Meantime, give it a chance to do what it can. Hope he's standing up high looking out to see what we're doing way over here. Just a minute, well, Opie's lying down right now. As you can see, there's not much green left in his pen to eat, so we hope to a little help here and move the pen over to take in the new batch of greenery. That's the next step here. He may be asleep. Interesting how big a flow there is down the soup branch today. I guess it rained 24 hours ago. And this water's coming from your left all the way to 15th Street and all the way uphill to the factory, the Pinnacle Food Factory, formerly Campbell Soup years ago, and all that land up there, all the way behind the pine trees over there, except what drains to our right across World Peace Wetland Prairie, all comes down through this wetland area into the Soup Branch, which obviously the little creek has been channelized there a little bit in the past, but it looks pretty natural. Except it's awfully straight for natural, and there's a ditch from the left. It comes under 12th Street, so it's flowing fast. Looking north along the western boundary of World Peace Wetland Prairie, where there's a mowed out strip, and then the honeysuckle's been removed off the trees on the mound there, the special southwest end mound on this prairie parcel. You can see some marks; those are on button bushes, which are native here and been here forever, I guess, or a long, long time. As long as I've lived in this area. But they were brush hogged out just a few years ago, so they're coming back. Here's some more button bushes. I haven't removed all the honeysuckle from this. We do have marks on the whole stand here. And I would say this also is a button bush over by the edge. So a lot of clearing's gone on in the last week and a half, whatever, a little over a week. Saturday, a lot of it happened. Lauren's still working down there, and the goat's working his strip. So it's changing, and we hope to get more of this honeysuckle out and get fescue out of here gradually, and have nothing but native species in here one of these days. What a delightful dream. That's the old habitat tree over there. Way in the background, the dying tree. Alright, and you can see the roof of our house over there. Norton likes the little bridge down there.
Huh?
Norton likes that bridge.
Norton also talks to.
I bet that's right. It's interesting how the part that you can tell what's been exposed to the frost the most.
Yeah.
Any that's protected in certain ways, it's varying degrees of looking fresh and green. And those leaves over there are curled, the ones you just pulled off are brown. And here's some over here, various other motley conditions. Well, the honeysuckle takes a beating in this weather, but it's pretty persistent. Persistent stuff.
Ha ha ha.
see, I do a lot of tying up to make this goat stay in. He's such a love, but he likes to tear his way out. And he did it a few times the last couple of days this weekend, so maybe he's okay now. But we still have to do the same thing again tonight. It's about 9:45. Monday morning, 26th of February, 2007. Opie the goat had a bite of corn before he left his pen, and he had a bite of hay in the driveway, oat hay, little sample. Had a big bucket of water all night, and now he's going to go out to his pen. But first, we take a walk around and let him eat some honeysuckle here and there before we put him in there and let him clean up some of the remaining leaves, and hope he'll actually eat some of the vines. Let's see what he'll do. But first we want to be sure he gets some extra green here. This is the prime stuff. We need a way to tie him out here, but what we're going to have to do is move the existing pen a little bit, get him a better batch of honeysuckle, because he's cleaned up much in the pen. But you can see how fast he goes after this stuff. Actually a really small area. He stays and works it consistently for a long time, then you'd see faster results. He could wander around here and eat a little here and there all day, and you wouldn't know what was missing unless you had photographed it ahead of time, looked at it closely. He loves eating this honeysuckle. Yeah. But are they really special?
No, they're just spring crocuses.
They're really pretty.
Gave me. And I used to have a book as a kid that said the crocus was so brave he was willing to stand alone in the snow. Opie, that is my sedum.
Don't eat. You can't walk him up there.
Look at him. He's like, oh.
Their invasion force. How to. She said, I want your money. And then he said, I mean it, Pawpaw. Paul Harvey.
Good day. Good day, sir. Paul Harvey's back with the rest of the story this afternoon. That's during your drive home at 5:30 during the Sean Hannity Show. And again tomorrow morning at 7:30 on the KRNG Morning News.
Pair of doves. Rural piece of the prairie. Hope he's doing fast work on his new pen situation. Just now at noon, train's coming by. A noon train. Let's see Opie's previous workstation for more than a week, and no green leaves there. The Habitat tree and through their university building and World Peace Wetland Prairie, and the train's about to appear. Sounds closer than it is, but it's not far. Train's coming in view, headed north into Fayetteville. Well, it's already inside Fayetteville, although the tail end of it might not be. It may be one of those long freights. The sound of the engine suggests it's pulling pretty hard. It's not really much of an incline there. It's just a long train. I hope he may not have seen a train before he came here, but he's getting to see one every day now, more than one. Well, it proved it not so long after all. White car's the last one. But the front end will soon be on Dixon Street crossing. The power pole replacers are on 11th Street. So we don't know if it'll be 2 hours, 4 hours. But surely this evening they'll be replacing the one right here at 1101 South Duncan, and our concern is the rows. 5 rows from here. Roots very near this pole. We're just hoping the new pole will not be too close to that. There's a guy trying to find the gas line material wire. Still hasn't got that straight. So he left him a note, Arkansas Western Gas, WJ, whatever, not located. Okay. This is the gas line where it comes to the surface in this dig, and it comes from over there. But that wire, apparently that has to be the other portion of that where it's broken. I don't know how the guys dug that up, didn't get it fixed when they did it, but they haven't finished the storm drain here either, so certainly a lot going on. It goes pretty close to the power pole. Obviously you can see it's straight over there, so it's going to be...
You got it on now?
No, I'm just saying that's an example of what they have done. So, it's, if they consider it a burden and not a great asset, they could easily get 12, 8, whatever council members there are, and the mayor to agree and take it out, I guess. But that would be pretty horrible considering what people put into this. And that it's been, all the donations have been made on the condition it be a nature area, you know.
That's the thing. It was the city accepted it based
for that purpose, yeah.
Based on the purpose, and the money was donated for that purpose. So
right.
I would believe that if the city ever wanted to take it over, that the city would then have to pay $50,000 or $100,000 back to the contributors.
If they want to use it for something else, they should. Yeah, we probably should have got a contract for that. Since it's all a public...
Wasn't that part of the donation? I mean,
oh, well, yeah, everybody's understanding, but
well, I mean,
but that doesn't take into account what, if, you know, just like any contract. If it doesn't have contracts written up for that, we may need to get
paperwork done.
Well, they had to do a deed, but see, we didn't control what it says on the deed, so I might have to go check that deed just to make sure.
See, a lot of times with donated land. Well, let me give you an example. When I went to school at Sam Houston State down in Huntsville, Texas, about 80 years ago, somebody donated alcoholic beverages were ever served.
At
that baseball field, you know, by the university or vendors, whatever, that the whole property would revert back to the heirs. Now, what some people do is they'll get a piece of plywood and around the top of it, cut some circular holes so that they can tie a rope around the wire and then around the, around the or through the hole in the plywood. And you only need a couple of holes, a couple along the top and a couple along the bottom to secure it against the wire. But then there's nothing to say that he wouldn't simply move farther over from the plywood and try to climb up somewhere else.
Yeah. He's eating that privet bush pretty good. That privet's mostly used by people for hedges, and if they trim it down a certain place and let it bush out, it makes a real thick hedge, but it'll grow awful big. I've got some in my yard I hadn't cut, and they're 12, 14 feet. Oh, well, this one right here is 9 or 10, isn't it? This side, I think that all that these people built is right up to the end of this. I'm not sure that, I think, I just honestly don't know if but somewhere in there, that new stuff that's going in has not been here until, I haven't seen it till today. But
we'll walk down.
Take a look.
Looks like they got another culvert up here. I'd like to go take.
I figured they were up here eating some of the planted grass.
And go over with
Okay.
different things that I see going on out here.
Now, the disappointing thing to the average person who knows as much about it as I do or less is that the jurisdiction is so split on so many of these issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's just
Let's
tough.
take a look right here.
Okay.
Go over what I see here. Now, looking back up this way, I know you've talked to Tim and some other people about our jurisdiction. For us to call it a wetland, a jurisdictional wetland, it has to have the 3 criteria of, hydrology, vegetation, and the soils. And it also has to have a connection. Now, just my initial review of this, without digging soil pits, it has the hydrology. I see some junkets and stuff out through there, which are indicative of wetland species, but and I'm confident that the soils will be out there, but I can't say 100% sure without actually going out there and digging a soil pit. And we also can see water flowing, and looking on the topo maps and aerial photos, I'm confident that we could show this connection into the creek. We could follow this out into the creek. So we could
200 yards or less to
so we
the
could show
town
a
branch of the West
connection.
Fork of the White River. Exactly.
So, with that being said, all the appearances is that this is a jurisdictional wetland. This is the spot right up here, and over there on the other side of that willow tree, there was I can see some junkets and stuff, but there's a channel coming down here that they dug out. But looking at those aerial photos, it looks like there was a natural channel through here, kind of like up through here. You can see kind of a little wetland channel. And
all across here, it all comes together here.
So there are some high probability areas that may, be jurisdictional waters. I can't say 100% sure without doing soil pits and stuff like that. Now, looking up this way and looking back up this drain and looking right in here, to go back up this way, they did dig this out.
Right.
And going back up this way, they dredged that out. And I know if you talk to Tim, our jurisdiction is for the discharge into waters of the United States. So this dredging or digging out that they've done, unless some of that cycatch material is into a wetland, is non-jurisdictional. And that's based on the Supreme Court rules and decisions. And you know, I understand the general public saying, well, you know, that's just as damaging as putting stuff in. But legally, the court does not have any jurisdiction for the dredging of materials out of these wetlands under the Supreme Court rules. It has to be a discharge into the waters of the United States. So now, with that being said, if we follow on down here, this culvert is a discharge into waters of the United States. So a permit is needed for these structures that have been put into this waterway here. So what I will do is, when I get back to the office, I will look at the Aspen Ridge permit to see if this was a part of the permit. If this is not a part of the permit, I will get with representatives of Aspen Ridge, and they have, you know, they can apply for an after-the-fact permit, but they will have to do, you know, get it, make sure it's in compliance. I will make sure it's in compliance before an after-the-fact permit is issued. So this is permitted. This dredging activity up and out through here is not. And like I said, that's based on Supreme Court rules or regulations. Like I said, without doing a soil pit, just kind of looking at it, my initial reactions are that this is going to be a jurisdictional waters. You know, I would need to do soil pits just to get the documentation, but the vegetation's there and the hydrology there, I would just need to clarify the soils.
Right.
Like I said.
Well, this, now from here, this big newly built thing, I don't believe has anything to do with Aspen Ridge, but on the contrary, it has to do with something these guys are planning to do with the Pinnacle Food Factory. And that was my initial question to you, was whether they had any permit, because of the land they paved or gravelled over there was similar land. This is fill dirt. This is, or it's dug from deeper. This is not the topsoil that was here. This is all black topsoil, this whole area. Now, so, and they've exposed the mess, but I don't know that they ever even asked for permission to do anything up there or here. So it's that company that may be responsible for everything from this silt fence over. And that would be a different company.
If you have that aerial photo with you, 100 years, we don't know. And, you know, we can't come out here as a federal agency going, you have to come get a permit from us or get this delineated, because they may not be doing anything here.
Well, you can see how much of that tree was there
a
few months ago. It was, I don't know if one of the windstorms took it down but I'm surprised they haven't removed it, because it's like the dead giveaway.
But what I will do, when I talk to Aspen Ridge, I will try to get a representative from the plant over there to tell them that this appears to be jurisdictional, that if they do any work in here, you know, it doesn't.
Okay, but what I'm saying, I believe that everything on this side of this is their doing.
Okay.
And because Aspen Ridge hasn't had no workers.
Well, I'm gonna contact them about the culvert if they don't have a permit for the culvert.
Okay.
And then maybe they can give me some contact information to who to contact up there.
They really appear not to have had much contact. The city told them they could build a street through these guys' property, because the city had the right-of-way.
Okay.
But the city, but whether these guys they may have once negotiated about buying some of this to put more apartments on, or condominiums. But I don't know. It's a mess. And see, they fill so much that they've hidden the character of the soil from you quite nicely. And it's even revegetated somewhat, because this was going on for some period. But in my mind, I don't see why they would go to much trouble on water control here, because unless they had been ordered to by permitting process. And this is something else I haven't walked over here since they built this. But you see the hump out here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I thought the way they first did it, it wasn't like that, and they didn't have the lights up. And I thought all the water was just going to drain out here into the soil. But now they've created something that's causing more flow down the soup branch over there, which will create more risk to the houses and so forth over there downstream, immediately downstream. The first here.
I don't know what they
but
are.
This is
what their purpose is on this thing, and then it looks like to me, and I'm not an engineer, is that maybe they're trying to slow the water down here, and then also up there on that thing before it gets into the culvert, maybe slow some of the flow before it gets into the culvert and goes through there. Yeah. That's just my initial thought looking at this structure and that structure down there on the I guess that's the west side of the culvert.
Yeah.
I don't know what their plans are. I've never seen something like this just built or something like that built around the culvert. So,
well, it's yeah. I'm actually I'm glad you came because I wasn't walking over here with it.
Like I said, what I will do is get with Aspen Ridge, and surely Aspen Ridge knows something about that structure. They're not going to build a culvert there and have a structure there that may affect their culvert working properly. So what I will do is contact Aspen Ridge and see if they know anything.
Who's building that?
I will get in touch with Pinnacle Foods. That's what
that's it. Yeah, okay. Pinnacle Foods.
And try to get some information from them, because
I know that Aspen Ridge did the permit, and I think Scott wrote it. But at that time, as I recall, I got copies of two different versions of it, when they did one for one side and then when they did the whole one later. And I don't think they included any wetlands consideration for this work over here.
I don't believe so. That's why I want to double check to make sure that I'm not, because I looked at the permit back in, I guess it was September when I met with that gentleman over here, October, and I can't remember if there was a culvert in there or not for the road construction here. But I will look at that, because that does require a permit from us, because that is a discharge. That is considered a discharge. And also that structure to the west of it is considered discharge, and whoever, if it's Aspen Ridge or if it's Pinnacle, we'll need to get that looked at and meet out here on site with them, and like I said, kind of go over where our jurisdiction is with Pinnacle, our jurisdictional areas out here with Pinnacle Hills or Aspen Ridge, so they know in the future. And like I said, the dredging that they've done out on the drain, up until the mid-90s, that type of activity was regulated. One of the toughest things that Rocky Presley had when he went up to Table Rock was all the gravel mining in Missouri, because Glenn Justice, who had the Table Rock office before Rocky, they required a permit for all the dredging in those creeks and streams, and then the Supreme Court rule came down and said, "Court, you don't have jurisdiction under Section 404 for dredging activities." And people would come into Rocky and say, "Well, I need to get a permit to go out there and dredge." And Rocky goes, "We don't have jurisdiction anymore." He said it took about 2 years for people coming and asking him.
Oh, no.
And like I said, it's from a biological standpoint, we're not saying that, it's any better for the environment. When we come out and say that, we're just speaking in our jurisdiction and under our regulations that we have authority to exercise. Like I said, what I will do is recheck the permit. If they don't have a permit for that, get with Aspen Ridge on that and on that structure, and we'll try to I will set up a site meeting with Pinnacle Foods and Aspen Ridge to try to come out and take a look at these with them. Okay, wonderful. Well, I tell you what, this land up here, yes, sir. There's so much has changed since I walked up here. It's been months, and
but there's like a sinkhole or two out in here that's been covered, and like I say, some of this is relatively new and revegetated. This has happened in the last year. So you had the crawdad bounds and things. I mean, that's a foot higher out there than it used to be, at least. And I really thought that they were just letting their water flow off here. It looks like there's a little drain catches some, takes it over to that ditch. But I thought they were letting it flow on this, and I thought, well, that's not bad. It's a gravel parking lot, and they're slowing it down. Right.
So this is, you know, I mean, you can tell that this is the drain kind of going through here. But you see these clumps of ash, and then you got, you can kind of tell where the wetter areas are, because you got that willow right there, and then you have these clumps of ash, and you have that willow there, you have that ash there. So that tree right up there looks like another cherry tree. Looks like another black cherry up there. So, I mean, this is just kind of a little wetter drain probably that flows through here.
Well, there is somewhere on here, 2 or 3 years ago, I actually ate the fruit of the, what we were talking about, the sour.
Oh, persimmon.
The persimmon. There is persimmon along this border here. And I can't see it right now, but I used to approach it from the outside, and they'd fall over in the trailer park side. And I'd gather me a few.
And those willows really don't have much wildlife value. Just you know, it's just they're just found in wetter areas. They're probably the first species that really come up in the wetter areas. So you'll see.
What kind of nest do you think that one is? Do you
Oh, I don't know.
you can't guess by any features of it.
No, sir.
The squirrels don't come out here that much, so
I don't
assume it's a bird nest.
Yeah,
it's almost big enough to be a squirrel nest.
I don't believe it's a squirrel's nest. No.
But I don't know which kind. But like down there where I showed you the little woodpeckers, the little red-bellied woodpeckers are making those holes and nesting there apparently, and that does provide nesting habitat.
Yes, sir.
See, what we lost here was all those trees. There's so many hollows and so many different, such a variety of timber all across both sides of the creek up here. And then now they've cleared that mountain over there, most of it, and it has really, really changed what happens in the fall when the birds come. Well, point out anything else you think, just as you walk through, that might be a good plant to save. And if you see it in the summer at various stages, you can see a lot of the flowers blooming. But right now, move up closer and see if you'll work with us a little closer. Pretty intent on what he's doing if we don't make a loud noise or run or something. Not too disturbed by people watching from 15 feet below. Got over on the west side of the tree. Yeah, I can see his color better. A little bit closer than where we were. But I did make him nervous. And I'm more certain that is the male working. He's the one doing most of the work the other day. Oh, he's calling her to say, "Get this guy off my back." Up here watching. There's some more speculation, but sometimes when you try to think like the wild things, you may be right. Some things you're thinking have to be pretty obvious. I think you'll get away from here and let it work. birds are pretty busy over there. They'd probably like me to put out some corn. I haven't put any out today, but there's scraps still there from last night. Can't see them as well from here as you do inside the yard. Inside the yard, you can be real close to a cardinal like that one. It's just a speck of red in there from here to me. Well, maybe some farms the goats and turkeys are great friends. So here's a couple who's a big Tom and a weather, and they're trying to be tight. Tom and Opie. They'd probably graze the yard together quite nicely. I wouldn't want Tom to get the idea to go over the fence the way Opie does. That's sort of scary. Both of them are animals that some folks would kill and eat if they found them loose in their yard. And others just call the city to impound them, but understand how nice they embellish a city. And that removing honeysuckle is a job a goat can do that nothing else will do so well. I imagine it will be this small and nice and easy to get along with. Anyway, it's been a nice 2 weeks with Opie here, and he's jumping the fence a little too often, so I don't know that we can continue this. We might have to wait till we get a better fencing situation for him. And they come over, I guess they're going to roost over at the Razorback baseball pond, I think, because they used to nest over there, and I never did see them come across. I saw them.
Brenna can be upstairs. He did that, and I was able to get him, if I worked right with them,
Well,
come over.
So he's got water there right now, huh? Yeah. Okay. A lot of leaves coming on these old trees. I went over there. They look so dead in winter. It's so wonderful when they come out. This tree needs a lot of honeysuckle off it, but at least its upper branches don't have the growth. Lauren's probably cut a lot of that beneath, but maybe we need to cut every honeysuckle vine going up there and let the brush stay for hidey spots for birds that want to nest in there for one more season. Robins are very active. Instead of seeing one resident robin, you're seeing many visitors. What's VW Cat doing out in the street? About to cross? What's he think he's doing? It's dangerous. VW. of those is putting out leaves again for the second time this winter, late this winter. And they're hoping that these get to stay. But we do have some freezing nights this weekend, so I won't really like that, but maybe it won't kill them. Sadie, come. Sadie. Sadie, come. Sadie. Get all set up to get your photo. And you ignore me for interesting scenes. Sadie, come. Come here. Well, that's more like it. Now go back. You're a heavily built girl dog.